For my sins, I occasionally watch the Escaping Atheism channel or the Max Kolbe channel, which are Dean Esme's latest projects since his gratuitous head injury at some point. It's thoroughly dishonest, it's nonsensical, it's just it's stupid and petty and nasty, to be quite honest. But occasionally they raise interesting questions that they don't end up actually answering, of course. Why would we expect anything different? But there was one recently about indoctrinating children into atheism. And that wasn't what the actual recording was about at all. It was about growing up in a communist state, and communism and atheism are not the same thing, though people seem to often make this mistake. But it raised an interesting thought to me. It's that how would you indoctrinate someone into atheism? And I don't think you can, due to the meaning of the terms involved. Indoctrination is an attempt to instill a particular set of beliefs in someone by presenting them uncritically. And atheism is an absence of a belief, so you can't indoctrinate atheism because atheism isn't a belief. It's diametrically opposed to a belief. It's the opposite of a belief. It's disbelief. It's not believing. So, yeah, categorically, you can't. You simply cannot indoctrinate someone into atheism. You can indoctrinate someone into particular points of view on atheism, and that's what would be happening in communist nations. That's probably the closest we'll have ever gotten. But what they were actually being indoctrinated with was communist beliefs about religion and so forth. They weren't being indoctrinated with atheism. They were being indoctrinated with anti-theism, I suppose. And there are arguments to be made against religion, and I would make lots of them, but I would never do it uncritically. But that's different to atheism. So how would you make kids atheists? And like I say, I don't think you can. What you can do is still not indoctrination, because if you teach kids critical thinking, you're teaching them to think critically. And that will almost inevitably lead them not to believe in a god. That's not the end goal. The goal is to get kids to think critically, to apply their brains, not to teach them what to think, but to teach them how to think effectively, how to think in a way that provides them with realistic, logical, rational answers. And as an end result of that, I think atheism is virtually inevitable. So I think the whole question is nonsense, and it rests upon this fundamental misunderstanding of what atheism is. Now, I know Dean and others have been told repeatedly what atheism is, but they prefer to keep attacking this straw man. I don't think they're going to make any progress outside of their own smug, self-satisfied circles until they start tackling atheism as it actually is. And I keep running into this in arguments and debates on Twitter as well. They insist that atheism isn't just the absence of belief in God, but all atheism is strong atheism, the belief that there is no God, which isn't true. There are hardly any strong atheists, Gnostic atheists, positive atheists, whichever particular sub-term you want to use. And they will continually refer to philosophy texts which use an old and outdated version of atheism, but not all of them even there. Dictionaries have been updated to the term as it is used, and even older books like the Oxford Dictionary of Philosophy have the correct definition in it. So I don't think there's an excuse other than they prefer to beat on this straw man. Either way, I don't think it's even possible to indoctrinate someone into atheism. The closest you can get is to give kids the tools to think critically and thoughtfully about everything, and as an end result, if they apply those, most of them will end up atheists. That's as close as you can ever get. Zang. Pulp Nova is a collection of short stories in the old pulp style but with a modern twist. You should find something here you like, from western to mythos horror to science fiction. You can get Pulp Nova at Drive-Thru Fiction, on Amazon, or in hard copy from lulu.com.
She said, switchboard. She told me heaven and hell, both one and the same. We all meet somewhere